Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about basics of pandas and how we can upload CSV files, and also we will briefly talk about text files. So basically pandas is a very important package, and if you need to manipulate data in your future career, the package that you're going to use with Python is pandas. So first you need to install pandas if you don't have on your Jupyter notebook or any of the other IDE you are using. So to install pandas, you can easily search this command, right? You can just use any of the AI and ask here, for instance, this is the one that I'm using, and you can type it here and say how I can install pandas to Python IDE. Okay, and then run it, and you will find the research results here, basics, and it's telling you which terminal you are using and what you need to do to install the pandas. So here we are using ! pip install pandas. And once we install it, since it's already installed on the system, I don't need to install it here. You need to always import pandas. Okay, so what we do with importing, we are activating this library. Okay, the import here, the code telling Python that we need to use the pandas library. So please make sure it's activated. And here, this part, as I save, is an alias PD, because every time I'm calling a function from pandas, I don't want the full name pandas. Instead, I'm just going to type PD. So any function in this library, I'm going to say PD dot and the name of the function, so that I can easily call the function from this package. So if you run this, it's already now active. And next thing is, it's important to know which directory you are saving the data, working with the data. Directory is the place where your files are. And in order to find out which directory you're working with this Jupyter notebook, you can import the OS library. Import OS library is going to activate the OS library, and you can use the get current directory or get cwd function from the OS library and save it to a variable called current underscore directory. So when you print this variable, you can learn which directory you are working now. So I'm going to run this, and you will see that the current directory is C, and users and my last name. So we're working on this directory. So you can also make sure you are in this directory by using this %cd, telling that which directory to work and upload or save the data and so on. So you have two ways to upload the data to the Jupyter notebook. The first thing is, as you see here in the Jupyter lab, you can upload the data where your Jupyter lab saves all the files. So what you can do is you can use this arrow function and then choose the data set you want to work with it and upload it here. And I did it here. If you scroll down here on my screen, you will find that sample2 CSV file is already uploaded. Once you upload the data here, that's very important. The first step is uploading here using this arrow and finding and uploading it. The only thing you need to do is call read underscore CSV function. From which package? From the pandas package. That's why you have the library first, and we save the pandas as PD. So now we are not calling pandas anymore, we are calling as PD. So we are calling this function from the pandas package. That's why we write it here, pd.readCSV. And in the parentheses and in single quotation mark, you're just going to type the name of the file and then the extension, which is CSV. And now you have the data, and it's saved as a data frame. It's called data. So you're saving the entire data set and call it as data. Okay? So that's one way to upload the data. Another way is you can directly use the directory where the data is saved. So when you look at here, my files are saved in BUA 4319, and when I double click on this, you can see where this file is saved. So I can tell Python, go to this directory and then get my sample2 data. That's what I'm doing. So I'm taking this entire directory here and copying, pasting it in the quotation marks. So that's what I do here. You see read underscore CSV, and I copy paste this directory, and then next after slash, this notation is very important. If you make a mistake, you will see that this notation is not correct anyway. But if you copy paste here, make sure that you type at the end the file name and extension so Python knows which file to read. So when you run this, you'll realize that this is not working. So the main problem with Jupyter notebooks and when you upload the data is you cannot use single slash to read the directory where the file is. What you need to do is, as you see here, we need to either use double slashes between the directories you go through to get the file, or you need to use the backward slash. So make sure that you have made that change after you copy paste here, because in the original content, when you copy it, it's coming with a forward slash. But when you copy the forward slash here, it's not working. It's not working, and you said, what is happening here? I don't know where the problem is. And if you use the double slashes, you're not going to have any problem, because then it's going to read the file, okay? Or backward slashes. You can choose either of them, and it's going to read the file and save it as data. And what is data? Data is a data frame object. So data frame object is similar to Excel sheets that you have rows and columns so you can manipulate the data. So this read CSV file reads the data and saves it as a data frame. And let's call this data frame object data so that I know what is the name of my data set. Now, if you want to skip, let's see for instance here, where is my data set here? Sample2 is here. I can double click and see, and you realize that the first four actually is nonsense, right? We want to skip these rows and start from the row 5. So what we can do is we are going to here, come back here, and then we can use the skip rows 5 or skip rows 4, whatever how many rows you want to skip, so the data set starts from the 5th row, okay? So when you upload the data, read the data using pd.read underscore CSV, what you need to do is, okay, this is my directory, comma, I'm going to use skip rows, and I'm going to type here how many rows I'm going to skip. That's what you need to do, okay? And now we have done this. The data set is read. The next thing is how I can see what is inside this data frame, which we call it data. We always use the head function to read the number of rows in the data. You can read the first 5 rows. Let's change this instead of 20 to 5 rows, okay? And type it 5 and then run this. You will see the first 5 rows starting, okay, index number starts with 0 in Python, which you're going to learn next week. It reads the first 5 rows of the data. So you can see if the data is actually read correctly. So you can see that all columns and rows are in order. So if you want to find out how many columns and rows in the data set, we're going to use the len function, but length of what? Length of the data frame that I have, which I call it data. But I want to know the column's length. I don't want to know the row's length. That's why I'm using this syntax. This is very important how we write it. Length in the parentheses, because len is a function. You need to tell what I'm measuring, okay, to the Python. I'm going to go to the data frame object I have called data, and then I want the columns from this data frame object and want to see how many columns I have. Run it, and it's 25. So we have 25 columns in the data. So if you want to know the headings, what is the headings of the columns, I'm going to use print function, and I want it to look pretty. That's why I use the fprint function. And when you use the fprint function, you type inside the print function f, and then you have this here double quotation, and then your text, what you want to print, number of columns. And in this part, I want to know, in this part, not the column names, but the length of the columns. That's why in the curly parentheses, you want to write what you want to know, what you want to print. I want to print this entire thing, right? Not instead of just 25 here, it's going to have number of columns first, and then colon, and then 25. So this 25 comes because I run this function, and I'm going to take this entire function into the curly brackets so that when I print, it's going to go and run this function and then print the result of it. Here, you see, you have the number of columns 25. Now, if you want to get a list of headings of the columns, then we are going to use this function. And which data frame, which object we want to list the columns, it's called data, right? We save it as a data up. So what I'm going to do is type the name of the data frame, which is data dot. This is just, you need to know this, okay? This is a function that you can read as a list, the column headers. So if you don't know again how to do this, you can always ask, right, to any AI asking, okay, I want to get the columns to a list with a data frame called data I have, right? You can write the prompt and it's going to do, the AI is going to tell you how to do it. And here in this case, you see when you use this, you're going to get the column names. Let's take a look at the column names: order number, quantity order, price each, as a list. Now you have a pretty nice list of headers, okay? So another thing that you're going to do a lot with data frames is you're going to remove the missing values if there's any. So how we can do it? It's very simple. In pandas, you have the data frame object called data, and the function is drop NA, and in place true just modifies the data frame. So if you don't use in the parentheses in place true, it's not going to make any change in data, which is our data frame that we save our data. Okay, just it's going to show it here, but if you want to make changes and after dropping the missing values, you want to save this new data, then you need to use in the parentheses in place equals true. So let's run this. Now we have done. Okay, you can print the data set and you will see the missing values is gone and it's replaced. Okay, so this is about basics of understanding the data frames in pandas package library. It's very important to learn pandas, and again there are several ways you can learn. You can learn the basics here, and you can learn more advanced and writing code with pandas with the help of AI nowadays. Okay, so now the next important topic is the text files, because most of the time you're gonna get data in a text format. It's not going to have numbers, but it's just a text file, or it might have numbers but in the text format. So we need to learn how to open a text file. Again, this script underscore sample is uploaded here, so I don't need to worry about the directory, right? I just go use this arrow and upload it here, and you will see here script sample data is already uploaded. So I don't need to tell Python which directory to go. I'm just going to use the open function and save this text file as text underscore file. So I know the name that when I want to call this text script. And we use the open, and there are several ways you can open a text file, and I'm going to just open it as read mode. So I'm going to just read what is inside. Okay, and let's run this. And now we have the text file created, and when I want to read inside the text file, I'm going to use the read function. But as you see, read function is going to be saved in complete text. So why I do that? Because when I call complete underscore text, I can see what is inside the text file. So this is how I read it. Now Python reads the file, the text file, and then save it, the read file, into complete underscore text. And when I run this, you will see that the complete underscore text is printing what is inside this text file. So what I ask, what usually we do, or I do, when I use the text files, I want to know how many unique characters in this text file. So if we are talking about the unique, we don't want any duplicate, then the best way to go is the set, right? Because set only prints the unique characters, and get a set, create a set from this complete underscore text. And when you're creating a set, all duplicate ones, all duplicate characters is going to be eliminated. So you will have only unique characters, and I want to save the set as unique underscore characters. So now what is this? This is a set. How I created this set? I used the complete underscore text file and get only the unique characters using the set function here. So I'm going to run this and then print the characters. You will see that there's no duplicates. It's only using the unique characters and creating a set data type, right? We learn about the data types, lists, sets, dictionary. As you see, a good use of set is to save unique characters, unique numbers, because the set does not have any duplicates in it. So that's it. These are the basics for today. And that's very important note here is, please check the announcement section. If you cannot read the data in the assignment, you just need to open it with UTF-8 encoded. And you can find how to do it, which line of code to use in the announcement section. And if the Game of Thrones is open up without any problem, which is the data set you are going to use, that's okay. But if it's not, you need to use the function or piece of code that I posted in the announcement to open that text file. Thank you.